Hey guys, here to do a review for Game of Thrones Season 6, Episode 2, Home. Now, a lot happened in this episode, as you know if you watched it. If you haven't watched it yet, then obviously there's going to be spoilers, because I'm going to run through the episode. Probably going to be a longer thing, because a lot happened in this episode. I've got a lot of notes. So this may be a longer video. So let's jump into it. The first note I have is simply I put Bran. And so the first thing I want to talk about is this episode opens with getting to see a Bran again. And we haven't seen him since season 4. And, as I said before in my last review and my reviews of past seasons of Game of Thrones, Bran is my favorite character on the show. I just really like his story arc. I like the whole warg thing and his storyline, and so he's by far my favorite character. And so finally getting to see him again after not seeing him at all was really cool. And getting to see him go back in the past and kind of see his father and his brother and all that, and getting to see Hodor before he was Hodor, and realizing that he was a semi-normal person back in the day. And so that really makes me curious as to what happened to make Hodor Hodor. That was cool, that whole thing, and seeing him really want to stay in the past, and the three-eyed raven having to tell him, like, look, if you're not careful, this whole thing's kind of like the ocean. You stay too long, you'll drown. And he kind of has to pull him out of it. And I really feel sorry for Bran and all that's happened with his family, and especially now that his power's growing more. You got to assume that he wishes he could have done more for his family. And then I feel bad for what's her face, Mira, I think her name is. Losing her brother, and kind of being stuck in this place. Sorry, there is a bug flying around my face. I really feel for her, and I'm really interested to see whether she will kind of come out of whatever funk she's in, or not. Because I actually think she could be from what we've seen in the past, she's shown hints of badassery. So we'll have to see if she comes back to any of that at all. The next thing I have is the wildlings save the day. And so things get really tense. And, everybody's pretty much ready to fight. And Thorne is just had it. He's like, you know what? Let's do this. They start breaking down the door. And then last thing you know, the wildlings finally showed up. Ed comes back. I remembered his name this time. Ed comes back, and he's got a horde of wildlings with him. It doesn't seem like it's all of them, but it's a good amount of them. What's his name? Tormund is with him. Whatever, the head wildlings guy, which I love his character. It's a really interesting guy, and so that was really cool seeing them finally come. And I thought it was absolutely hysterical when the guy with the arrow shoots the giant, and he just grabs him, smashes his head against the wall, drops him on the ground, and everybody else is pretty like, okay, we're done. Never mind. All right, we get the picture. We are out of our league. What I didn't like about it was, look, if killing Jon was Alistair Thorne's first offense, okay, sure, let's throw him in the brig or whatever. Let's lock him up, okay? Because, I get, if you're a good guy in a TV show, even though I do think that Game of Thrones, the thing that I love about it is the fact that everything isn't so black and white, that everybody's hands have been dirty and have done things that maybe you should or shouldn't have done. That's like one of my favorite things about the show. So I understand the reasoning behind not just killing Alistair and just being done with it. But come on, this guy has done so much through the last few seasons where we've had him. The dude just deserves to go. All right, I'm sorry. I hope by the end of the season the dude is dead. I don't care how it happens. I really don't. I just want him gone. In fact, no. I'll come back to the subject. I'll tell you exactly how I want him to go. So that was one thing. Ollie, um, you know, Ollie is another one of those characters for me where, okay, because for those of you who may not pay attention to a lot of things story wise, um, or may not watch a lot of TV or anything, sometimes characters are placed in shows for specific reasons. Other times characters are placed in shows to serve kind of as a vessel to teach the audience something, the other characters around them something. And you could do and you could actually do much cooler story arcs with smaller characters like that. Like they did something really similar to that with crap, I just forgot her name. Jon Snow's love interest in the last few seasons. I love her. I love her character. And they did something really brilliant with her. And I feel like Ollie is another one of those characters that because of his family being killed by wildlings, you could have taken this young kid and had him on this really cool journey. And look, and I'm saying that I don't know what happens, nobody does. So maybe there's some redemption in there for Ollie, but it seems like he's pretty much going down this like rabbit hole kind of dark trail. And if that's the way they're gonna go with him, I'm gonna be honest and tell you, I don't like that idea. I don't want to know that Alistair was so cunning that he was able to undermine everything that Jon was trying to teach Ollie. I want to believe that there's a little bit of hope for the kid, but maybe not. The next thing I have down is the mountain. Now, oh my god, again, just like the giant scene, we have this other scene with the mountain where this guy is talking about how he pulled out his junk in front of Cersei and how she loved it and all this stuff, and we see him taking a piss in this place, and the mountain comes up, stands behind him, and smashes his head against the wall, and it's all nasty, bloody. Dude's dead. Hysterical. I had to mention that. That was. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of my sense of humor is still pretty middle schooler like. So that was pretty humorous to me. The next thing I have down is Tom and Jaime and the High Sparrow. Now, I guess also I should say in the mountain scene we also find out that Tommen hasn't allowed Cersei to go to Marcella's funeral. She ain't too happy about that. So then we go to this scene where we see Tommen and Jaime at first, and they're kind of talking to each other over Marcella's body. And this was a really great father-son moment, I think, where Tommen basically says, hey, look, I'm not as, I didn't do the things that I needed to do, I wasn't there for them, and I feel like a shitbag, and Jaime just goes, look, we've all made dumb mistakes, go ask for forgiveness, go to your mother and tell her you're sorry. Just go do that. Well, then guess who shows up? Mr. High Sparrow. And look, up to this point, I mean, I haven't liked this character at all. I mean, I don't like him at all. But look, I'm going to be honest. Like, while I don't like him, I haven't really seen him as anything other than just a really pious religious man. But this is, I think, the first time that you see him have this interaction with Jaime, and you start realizing that, okay, this guy's a lot more dangerous than he's let on before. That was definitely a threat, and somebody's got to do something about this mofo, because he's got to go. And I was crossing my fingers so much because I really wanted Jaime to just take the dude out, but he didn't. That's probably the wiser move, but that's what I thought about that. The next thing I had was Tommen and Cersei. Then it cuts to, Tommen talking to his mother and basically saying, hey, I haven't been as strong of a king as I wanted to, and I'm sorry for not coming and visiting you and all these things, and I need your help. Will you help me be stronger than than what I am now. And she's basically like, yeah, always. So that was kind of a cool moment. Now, this next moment is probably in my top 3 favorite moments of this episode, and it's Tyrion and the Dragons. We finally get to see the scene that we saw in the trailer where he's like, I drink and I know things. He basically tells us like, hey, Dany is supposed to be the Queen of Dragons, and you're keeping the dragons locked up. That's not a good idea. Like that, just don't do that. So he gets this wise idea to go down there and, well, free the dragons. And I loved this scene. I mean, there was so many things I loved about it. It showed that there might actually be evidence for one of the theories going around. And it shows that these dragons really are everything that Dany said that they were from the beginning. And I honestly feel like with the knowledge that I have now about them, assuming everything that she said is true and assuming everything that Tyrion said in this scene about dragons is true, she really kind of made a bad move by locking them down there, because these dragons seem to be pretty damn loyal, and they're basically, you want them on your side. Don't piss them off. Don't treat them with disrespect. They haven't done anything to anyone. They're just being dragons. What do you expect? They're big, giant, reptiles. And then, I thought it was great. After he gets done, he lets them both loose, and he's on edge the whole time, and he goes back up, and Varys is there, and he says to Varys, if you ever get me punch me in the face if I ever get a bad idea like that again. And Varys is kind of like, all right, fair enough. And then Arya. Arya's the next note I have down. Pretty much the same thing as we saw before. The girl lady person comes and starts whacking the crap out of her, and then we see Jaqen come, and he starts taking her away, and we don't know where to. So then we have Ramsey kills Roose Bolton and his mother and brother. So this, I can't lie, I kind of saw this coming. I didn't think they would do it in episode 2, maybe 4, maybe 5, not 2. But you don't have to be a dumb person to know that Ramsey was going to do something. I didn't necessarily think that he was going to stab him, honestly thought that he was going to do something much worse than that. I thought maybe he would set him on fire or something. But no, I kind of had my suspicions that Ramsey was going to kill Roose ever since he found out about the baby, and ever since Roose made that threat to him, like, hey, if my wife has a son, he gets the throne. And so you better marry Sansa. You better do something to make your name important. So Ramsey kills him. And then he kills his stepmother and or whatever and brother with the dogs. And as evil as that scene was, it was shot beautifully. It was such a intense scene. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say something. By no means do I think Ramsey is a good guy or has emotions or feelings like that. But I couldn't help but think this because while the dogs are attacking her and the baby and she's screaming, it goes on Ramsey, and he doesn't look pleased, he doesn't look happy or anything like that. He almost looks kind of miserable. And it's either one of two things. It's either one, what I would like it to be, which is he didn't necessarily want to have to make that move. I think he kind of knew in the back of his head that he was gonna have to do that one day, but I don't think he actually enjoyed having to kill the baby and kill his mother and his dad, you know. I think he always hoped that maybe the baby would be a girl, or maybe the baby would have complications and not be born at all or something, and basically maybe he would have more chances. But then, you know, you see him standing there, so it's either that or he's realizing the road ahead and how difficult it's going to be. It's either one of those two things. It's not anything else, because this guy does not have emotions. So that's it. That's it. And then I don't have it in the notes because, well, I do have this. The next thing I have down is Theon, Sansa, Brienne, and Podrick. They're all kind of together. We get to see what they're up to. And, you know, we see this really sweet moment between Sansa and Brienne. Then we see Sansa talking to Theon. And basically you find out that Theon, you know, wants to go home, that he doesn't have any intention of going with them. And Sansa honestly seems kind of caring about him. But here's the thing, because, you know, as I've said before in my other Game of Thrones videos, I've gone through seasons 1 through 5 3 times, and I you know, I'm gonna be honest with you when I say the first time I went through it, I hated Theon. After seeing everything that he did, seeing him actually get tortured made me happy, because I truly felt like he deserved every stinking thing that he got. But, you know, this last time going through it, I actually really felt sorry for the guy. I mean, that doesn't make everything that he did any better, but seeing the lengths that Ramsey takes on him, and seeing him at this point where he owns up to the shit he's done, you know, and he's like, look, there's nothing I can do to fix what I did. And I don't really want to become a member of the Night's Watch, you know. I don't want to do that. I just want to go home. And I thought that was a great moment, you know. And then they go to the Iron Isles. And honestly, what I hoped I would see next was him kill his father. Which his father does get killed, but not by him. And I was like, oh, sorry, Theon, somebody got you to it. And I guess it's the king's uncle. I don't know. That's a new card that's in play. Don't really have any opinions on that. And then the last note I have is the Red Woman brings Jon back. So here's a really cool thing. I talked about in my review of the first episode for this season, that, you know, the Red Woman really got to this point where, and she pretty much says as much in this episode to Davos when he asks her, you know, and she's like, you know, everything's a lie. You know, it's like, I didn't really see these things in the fire. You know, I don't know what you want from me. And Davos pretty much goes, well, look, do you have any magic that maybe will bring this kid back? Or this dude back? And she's like, I've never possessed that power. And he's like, well, have you ever tried? And then we get to see her try. And I love the way that this scene is filmed, because you can tell that she, as this character, is so unsure of what's gonna happen for like 90% of it. You know, it's like she cleans him off, she cuts some of his hair while she says some of the spell or whatever, or incantation or whatever you want to call it. And she does it once, she does it twice, nothing really happens. But then you kind of see her like go, you know what, if this is gonna work, I gotta put some force into this. And then like the last couple times that she speaks, or she says the spell, you could tell that she's got conviction behind it. And then when nothing happens, you see Tormund just like, yeah, I'm done with this shit, and this ain't gonna work. And then Ed leaves, and the only people in the room is the Red Woman and Davos. And then finally, she leaves, and Davos is standing there. And I think it's this moment of Davos is like, I can't believe this didn't work. After all the shit I've seen this stupid woman do, I can't believe this isn't working. Just disappointment. And then he walks out. And then it happens. We see Ghost jump up, and then we see Jon take his breath and gasp for air. And look, okay, I mean, everybody's been joking around about this, but look, we all knew Jon was coming back, all right? The question wasn't whether Jon was going to come back. The question was how and what state would he be in when he comes back. That second question is yet to be answered. Because look, right now all we know is he's back. And we know that the Red Woman brought him back. And that was the card I played from the get-go. After last season ended and I watched all of the videos that people posted about what they thought, it just made the most sense. You don't have a character that is miles and miles away from Castle Black come all the way back to Castle Black to have somebody else bring him back from the dead. That doesn't make sense story-wise. I knew from the get-go that Melisandre was going to be the one to bring him back, and she does. Now the question will be, will he be the same Jon Snow that we had before? Because, okay, if everything happens the same way that it happened with the I forget how to pronounce his name, but the other guy that was brought back from the dead all those different times, he was seemingly normal. I mean, other than all the gashes and bruises and stuff on him, I mean, he was normal. He wasn't like or anything like that. So I'm gonna go out on a limb and say I think Jon's okay. I mean, beside the whole "hey, I was dead and now I'm back" stuff, I think he's okay. I don't think we're gonna see a malicious Jon. I don't think we're gonna see like an evil Jon or a different Jon. He's gonna be the Jon Snow that we all know. The question will be is whether if he will wreak revenge on Alistair Thorne and those who stabbed him or not. That is what I want to see. I want to see Jon take Alistair's head. That's what I want. And if that doesn't happen, I'm going to be stinking pissed. That's my review for episode 2. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think of Game of Thrones season 6 so far. What you thought of this episode. And you guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram. Hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye.